All righty, people. What is happening? How we feeling? How we living? I'm excited to be back with you guys. Rested and ready to go. Padaki, held down the
Yeah,
fort.
I mean,
Good job.
welcome back, brother. How was your first of all, before we even get deep into it, which we haven't spoken about, the Oklahoma City Thunders, the 2025 NBA champions for the first time in franchise history, at least since relocating to Oklahoma.
Let's
How you feeling?
go. It was the way I didn't even time my holiday like knowing that we were going to be in the NBA finals or like time it around the NBA finals, but it ended up being perfect because I could watch every game. I didn't have to think about work and I was just balls deep into the entertainment part of it. And the most stressful sporting series event of my entire life. Like to me, the Oklahoma City Thunder are like pretty much my favorite team I've ever watched from like a sports perspective. I love football, but I would put Oklahoma City over any football team for me. So it was pretty important. And
Yeah.
I didn't personally feel like we were just going to destroy Indiana. I knew everyone said that, but I just thought that they had such a cohesive team. And I got much respect for the Pacers. They play a great brand of basketball. To all the haters out there who said it was going to be a sweep or a boring series, ended up being one of the most entertaining games and series we've had in a long time, maybe since the 2016 NBA Finals. It was really fun to watch. I'm sure for the average fan, for any Pacers fans out there, they can probably relate to this, as I know my Oklahoma City Thunder fans can relate to this. It was the most stressful thing in my entire life. So the night before Game 7, I'll just tell you a quick story, okay? The night before Game 7, I could not sleep. I genuinely couldn't sleep. Do you want to know the worst part about it? Is I had to sit after that Game 6 blowout where we got destroyed by the Indiana Pacers. I had to sit with that for 72 hours on a holiday. For 72 hours on a holiday, all of social media was just shitting all over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just completely shitting all over it, right? 72 hours. I feel depressed. I'm in the dumps, trying to have a good time still on holiday. And then it's just like this constant buildup as you're heading into Game 7 of, oh my God, we could either become champions or we will have fumbled the bag in a huge way, right? So
Yeah.
the day that the NBA Finals is on, it starts at like 8 a.m. Over in Singapore where I was. It's the same day we were supposed to go to Universal Studios.
Oh
But
no.
the issue was I I couldn't sleep. I genuinely could not close my eyes. I tried to go to sleep at like 11 p.m., 10 p.m., and just sit in bed. But every time there was just this pressure I felt, even just as a fan, of, oh my God, this next day is going to define so much of the Oklahoma City Thunder as a franchise. Like, we're going to have to either go through an entire offseason of people saying, well, they're not good enough and they need to go over this hump of the NBA Finals and they choked it, or I'm going to have pure ecstasy, right? Like, there was no in between. And it obviously ended up going well, but I got so sick after we won because I was so stressed out watching the game, first of all, but the entire build up to the game brought me so much stress and I couldn't sleep whatsoever. So I got so sick after the game finished.
Good.
It was genuinely awful for me, but an incredible experience for me. Anybody who knows me well or knows me personally knows that I have been a massive fan of the Thunder for a very, very long time. Followed KD in Texas when he got drafted by Seattle, followed Seattle, and then they moved to Oklahoma City, which, as everyone knows, I lived in Kansas City, and that was the closest NBA team for anybody who lives in Kansas City. There's a lot of Oklahoma City Thunder fans in Kansas City, but this was me 13 years ago. Look at that baby face. This was me 13 years ago. Heartbreak when the Oklahoma City Thunder lost the NBA championship. And obviously have been following the team. You know, it's funny. One of my friends from college asked me, this is after the Paul George trade. When Paul George got traded, when Russell Westbrook got traded, he sent me a message on Facebook of all things, like, are you still an OKC fan? I said, yeah, that's never going to change. So we've been through it. Any OKC fan has just dealt with heartbreak. Yeah, we've had good teams, but it's been heartbreak since KD left us, since we, lost 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. And it was just absolute euphoria to see this team win a championship. I couldn't have been happier with the results. And, obviously everybody's got their opinions of the team. Everyone has their opinions. It felt like it was the Thunder versus everyone on social media. It felt like the people's team was definitely the Pacers. Nobody wanted, the Thunder to win based off what social media showed. But
I don't understand why. I mean, once again, I don't know much about basketball. I don't understand why that was the case. Maybe I didn't like the Pacers because I just knew, like, historically for the Knicks, they would never... You just never liked the East. Like, you hate Celtics, you hate the Pacers.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't understand why it was a big thing for the community this year.
It was pure euphoria. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was an incredible feeling, and I honestly started crying a little bit just because the Thunder were just so intertwined into my life growing up. Like,
yeah,
I still remember, like, the Thunder are the reason I got into NBA. I didn't watch NBA before Kevin Durant. Like, I was watching him out of college, and then he went to the Seahawks, or to this obviously to Seattle, and then obviously Russell Westbrook comes along. That team is why I started to love basketball. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is the reason I actually got invested into the sport. I wasn't watching the sport before that team. And I remember, like, as a kid, like teenage years, I remember watching a game where we lost to the Memphis Grizzlies on a buzzer beater, and we were in, like, the smaller house, right? And, like, the living room's right by the kitchen. And I remember, like, being so upset that I punched the front door. And my mom, I've never seen her so upset at me. But she was like livid at me, and rightfully so. Like, I shouldn't just be an obnoxious kid punching doors, but it was just so intertwined into, like, my emotions and, like, who I was. And I can think about, like, times about, like, the first time I met my brother-in-law. Like, the first thing we did was drive to Oklahoma City and see a Thunder game. My old youth pastor, my old friends that I grew up with, we would go to the playoff games. I remember watching James Harden as a Rocket face the Oklahoma City Thunder in a playoff game. So it's just so intertwined into, like, my youth and also my fandom now that to me, it was the most rewarding championship I've ever seen. And I honestly feel so spoiled in my late 20s, early 30s as a fan. Because before that, it's been nothing but heartbreak. With the Chiefs, with the Commanders, with the Thunder. Those are my big three teams that I really follow. And it's been nothing but heartbreak until the Patrick Mahomes era. Now that's been really fun to watch. Now Jaden Daniels, Oklahoma City Thunder win a championship. I feel like the most spoiled fan, but I don't want to take it for granted at all. And anyway, it was incredible. It was incredible.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad that for your sake and for your wife's sake that you guys won, because I know the rest of that holiday would have just been dreadful.
Yeah.
Specifically for Karina.
Yeah. I told her after we lost, because I was genuinely depressed, game 6 when we lost. I said the next game is going to either leave me the saddest I've ever been from, like, a fan perspective, and I will probably go into a slight depression, or it will be pure euphoria. And she was like, oh my God, I hope they win. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for being here with us. Shout out to Badaki for holding it down. I am ready to go and ready to get into the season. And we do have a special for today, so I appreciate y'all for being here with us. The last day of June, we wanted to do a little special, okay? So we do officially have a BOGO offer today for our team playbooks. All right. So if you're out there and you have been waiting to get a team playbook from us, today is a great day. We're going to be reviewing a lot of teams. We do still have room, I believe, for a same day team playbook as well. But we are doing a BOGO offer today. Very rare that we do something like that. Y'all know that if you've been following us for a while. But would love for you guys to get in on that offer. But if you don't know, Team Playbook is a customized game plan for your offseason. What moves you should make, the status of where your team is. You can get your playbook by becoming a promo code LAND annual Mother Flock member. That will give you a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Just make sure when you choose us, you move that slider up to live. Otherwise, it will be an offline team playbook, right? So you got to move it up to the live team playbook option. Otherwise, we will consider it an offline version. But today, to end June, we wanted to do a special. So it is a BOGO offer. Buy one live team playbook, you get one offline for free. Appreciate y'all big time for being here with us. What's up, Daniel Macy? 66 days until kickoff. What's up, Styles? Welcome in. Jonah Zeno's here. So let's talk about Jonnu Smith real fast. I think it's probably worth having a conversation about him, don't you think?
Yeah, no question. No question.
I think the reason Badaki is laughing is because we just released a video, and I don't think the average viewer of our content knows how much effort goes into creating a video, like what it actually looks like, because there are so many people trolling me with this latest video. I had a great video idea, and I honestly felt so good about it. I still feel good about the video that we produced. But basically the idea was to find players at every position that I thought were dark horses to finish #1 overall at their specific position, right? So we actually just released that video 6 hours ago over on our redraft channel. And the unfortunate part is I found it so difficult. I'll put a link in the chat for you guys. I found it so difficult to think of like a tight end. I was like, what tight end? And the only tight end, like I really just feel like it's going to be Brock Bowers or Trey McBride. I really don't think there's another option. The only tight end that I thought, you know what, I can see the smallest slither of a pathway to being like the surprise dark horse tight end one was Jonnu Smith, right? Now, what people don't understand is you don't just get a video like this. I don't just sit down and record a video after I've scripted it and all these graphics just come together magically. So this video, it took time for this video to be edited. It took time for this video to be produced. There's a lot that goes into it, but the comment sections are just absolutely roasting me. I don't understand why, because it's very clear when I brought the video that I was, we have Jonnu Smith as a Dolphin here. That's what the take was based in. But people are trolling me as if like, oh, you should have known he was going to get traded. I'm like, what? Like the Jonnu take didn't age well. Like, what did you guys? I actually don't have a crystal ball. I don't have the power to see into the future. But anyway, Jonnu Smith is no longer on the Miami Dolphins. He is a Pittsburgh Steeler. How do you feel about the move?
I think it's worst case, not worst case. I just think it's a bad move, specifically for Jonnu Smith. He's going to an offense that didn't necessarily pass as much. Yes, he gets Aaron Rodgers. Is he an upgrade to Tua or not? I honestly have no idea. Now he goes back with Arthur Smith. I know a lot of people are saying, well, Jonnu Smith was with Arthur Smith in Atlanta, but what was he then in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Nothing, essentially. So now people are saying, is there a new pathway? Should have been Pat Frymuth. I think this is just more of a depth play.
So
personally,
I agree that it's not good. Clearly, we want him to be in Miami. That's where he showed the most upside in his career. But I would disagree that it's like worst case scenario personally, because I think there's a lot of places he could have gone where it would have been worse off. Here's what I'll say. Back with Arthur Smith, he had a lot of great weeks and had a really good year with Arthur Smith in Atlanta. If we remember that, everyone said Kyle Pitts. And ultimately, Jonnu Smith was the tight end that he funneled his offense through. Now, also you have to understand the offense that he's joining. No NFL team runs more 13 personnel than the Pittsburgh Steelers, meaning 3 tight ends on the field or multiple tight ends on the field, right? So no team in the NFL has more tight ends on the field more often than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you look at the profile between a Jonnu Smith and a Pat Frymuth, Jonnu Smith is the in my opinion, the more obvious player that you would scheme up offensively than a Pat Frymuth. You don't put Pat Frymuth in the slot. He's a very good blocker. He's a tough build. So I actually believe this is their slot tight end in Pittsburgh this year. I believe this is their slot tight end in Jonnu Smith. I think that's how they will treat him. There'll be a lot of targets at the line of scrimmage. So I actually don't think this is a death sentence for Jonnu Smith, but clearly it's a downgrade from Miami. But, he's going to become one of these names that we'll probably talk about on the waiver wire in fantasy football this year. He could have a couple weeks where he spikes. I don't think there will be consistency, unfortunately. But I do think it is a downgrade. I don't think it's a death sentence, though. That's the best way to describe it.
I definitely think it's a downgrade. And I was just trying to go back to when he was with Atlanta, which was in 2023.
Yep.
7.3 fantasy points per game. Finishes a tight end 20 on a points per game basis. It's tough to envision personally. Like if I'm somebody, sure, I think could be a late flyer in best ball. I mean, I can definitely see a spike week here or there. Especially in like fast drafts when we go into fast drafts and how his ADP might fall. But like in the redraft perspective or in a dynasty perspective, if I can get a third, a fourth for Jonnu Smith, I think you can get a third right now. I think some people like that the addition. In a redraft perspective, I'm probably just avoiding the guy at all costs. He's not somebody that you can take it. Like Jonnu Smith was like, I'm going to punt tight end. I'm going to see if I can get Jonnu Smith in the late rounds. Now it's not that at all for me.
Like I said, I don't think it's a death sentence, but clearly a downgrade. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. One thing that you should know, we do have a giveaway on today's stream. It's a very simple giveaway. We're giving away a trade question voucher. So you see these people who have come onto the stream, like J Muzz here, for example. They've come onto the stream and they've asked a trade question. If you want to have the opportunity to do something like this yourself, all you need to do is type LAND into the YouTube chat, LAND, and like the stream. That's as simple as it could possibly get. Type LAND into the chat and like the stream. Those are the two things you need to do to be entered. And we will do that giveaway at the very end of today's stream. Of course, it goes without saying, but I will say it anyway. You do have to be on the stream when we do the giveaway. We're not going to chase you up on it to give you something free, right? But definitely appreciate y'all for being here with us. And let's go ahead and get to some of these trade questions, and then we'll do some team playbooks. Again, we have a BOGO offer on the playbooks today. Buy one live team playbook, get one free. What's up, Dorothy says, hey, you guys have an issue with your website. I didn't see anywhere on there where I could report it. I don't know what's the issue. If you guys ever see any issues on the site, you can always go to our Discord and go to the site issues tab under setup. This is where you can enter any feedback to our developers, but let us know what the issue you're experiencing is. All right. First trade question here is from J Muzz. It looks like they would be sending away Christian McCaffrey to get Quinshon Judkins. For me, in Dynasty football, I love CMC and redraft formats, but this is a no-brainer in my opinion. I'm pretty easily going the Quinshon Judkins side. How about you?
Yeah, no question. Give me Quinshon Judkins every day, please, and thank you.
All right, we are going to go with Mr. Quinshon Judkins there, so he is our answer. I think just the draft capital, the age, it's very easy to make this swap right here, right now. We have a trade question as that did not go through. Let's reset here. Okay, if J Muzz is just seeing this, we just talked about... Okay, it didn't link. That is awesome. Nothing is linked. I linked and I pressed start and now it's asking me to link. How cool is that?
How cool is that?
Well, what do I do, Badaki? Because we've been live for a while. This is not going to be accurate at all.
I would say maybe they can still go. It's not going to be accurate, but
it's 19 minutes off. It's not going to be helpful at all. So
maybe we can like send. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
What's your
what
thoughts?
We can do is like my thought process is like maybe we can send it and then send a message in the back end, like just fast forward 19 minutes or
Okay, sure.
Like I can send a message on the back end or something.
All right, you're gonna have to send that message every time we answer a question. Then is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
So just let
Love
me know
technology.
when that's done, and then
I'm going to start that now. So we are officially how many minutes into the stream? We're about 20 minutes. Just tell them 20 minutes.
which is Jay. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
tell Jay
fast
to go 20
forward.
minutes ahead. And Jay, if you're here, we just discussed the last couple minutes there that we would very easily go to Judkins at this point of their careers in Dynasty football. Thanks for the question, my friend. All right, Careze here. It's a 1 quarterback start 8. It's a 10 team. He says, I got offered this. Do I accept? It looks like they would send away Evan Ingram, Christian McCaffrey, Isaac Orindo, and 2/3 to get back Judkins, Olave, and Loveland. And this is another one of like the easiest smash accepts I've seen. You get a massive upgrade at tight end over Evan Ingram. You get a massive upgrade. Chris Olave, you don't even have to give up like a good asset for Chris Olave. I mean, you're swapping from Judkins to McCaffrey, which we just had a question like that, and we said we would easily do that. And now you're upgrading to Loveland. You're upgrading to Olave, what, from Isaac Orindo? I don't understand what the other person is even getting in this deal. It's very easily Judkins and Olave and Loveland side here. And make sure you go 20 minutes past the time it shows you. All right, another trade question here from L. Scooter. He says, top contender makes sense this year and long-term question mark. So it looks like they are sending a 3rd and a 1st, Bucky and T. Higgins, and they will be getting back a 2nd, Brian Robinson and Jamar Chase. So a 12-team start 10. This would be a no-brainer if it was like a 10-team start 8, Padaki.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
in a 12-team start 10, you know, I don't really care for the 2nd or Brian Robinson. So they don't really hold any weight in this conversation for me. The question is, would you trade Jamar Chase? You know, would you trade for him? And you have to send away Higgins, Bucky, and a 1st. That really is the question we're asking right now. I think overall you can make a case like that's probably what you want in return for Jamar Chase.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, and that's probably what you want in return.
But in a start 10, I feel like I would rather keep the Higgins, Bucky, and 1st side of this.
Yeah. You know, coming off of all those startups there with those with the Burrow leagues, I feel like, you know, that's a third round pick, 4th round pick, and a 26th first, and you go up to be a top 5 pick in your draft in a startup perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what you're gonna have to pay to get a Jamar Chase. So that in my mind it makes sense, but I agree, like it doesn't make sense to go out and
here's the problem.
Get him.
Your quarterback 3 is Trey Lance, so if you lose your 1st round pick, I don't know how you improve your quarterback spot at all. If there's even a single injury there, you're screwed at quarterback, right? Now, you can afford to lose Bucky Irving because then Josh Jacobs becomes your RB3. But after your RB3, there's not much depth we love. I like Jordan Mason. I like Tootin. And you've already got London, Marvin, Higgins. Right now, your starting lineup is Burrow, Lawrence, let's say Saquon, Bucky, London, Marvin, Kittle. That's 7. Then you're going to flex T. Higgins, Judkins makes it 9, and Jacobs makes it 10. So I actually think your overall lineup might get worse if you do a deal like this. But obviously, you add the upside of a... Look, the reality is, this is probably what it costs to get Jamar Chase, but...
I would say it's an even trade.
I would prefer to keep the side that I have, and I would rather use that 1st round pick to improve the quarterback position.
Yeah, I agree. That's basically what I was going to say.
Okay, cool.
23 minutes ahead of that time, so I'll send that message out to you guys.
It's about as even as it gets, but we prefer the package if possible. Bengal Oracle, man, I don't know what you are looking for us to do here, my friend. He says sleeper war room Bayou Bengals, grade the team. I don't know. I appreciate the donation, but I'm not sure exactly what action you're expecting us to take from this.
Yeah. If you're wanting to get your team reviewed, you have to sign up with the Flock Fantasy website, which I'll put it in the Discord here. At least the Nightbot is. So if you want to get your team review, that Nightbot. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. I'm on Fantasy Live Football, which is good because that could be a good segue. That Nightbot is going to send you that link if you wanted to get your team reviewed here tonight, and that I'm assuming that is your name of your team.
Yeah, we can't just look at your name and then do a review. So I appreciate the donation, but we can't take any action from that. I'm not really sure. Let us know. Maybe we're confused on what you're asking there. Port Dog, appreciate the message here on the Flock site, the trade question. Yeah. He says he wants Dart bad. Should I wait until mid-season? I mean, look, if you're getting a 27 first and Jaden Reed, that's about the max you'd get for Jackson Dart right now. I'm actually very happy with the Reed and first side.
Yeah,
it's a 2027 pick as well, so that's a class that we all really love.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I mean, I can't tell you whether Jackson Dart's going to hit or not. I don't think anyone has that answer right now, but I don't think you could sell him for more than this right now. Yeah. He says, thought you could look at the trades in my league. So today's stream is completely dedicated to people who are deciding to support us on the Flock site and submitting their trade questions, their team reviews through the Flock site, guys. So if you are looking to get any advice or feedback from us, you can go to the Flock Fantasy site. If you haven't created an account yet, then you can get a free account with the promo code LAND. All right, so I'll put a link in there for you. You can create a free account with the promo code LAND, but if you become an annual Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND, you'll get a free team playbook, which you can upgrade to the live one. You'll get a free trade question voucher that you can submit through the site. But we've got this little personal advice tab at the bottom and at the top right of our pages that allows you to look at where you can get your team reviews. You can submit a trade question, a super chat. All that is done through the site. And if you want your team reviewed, I mean, you can go to the My Team section and actually import your own sleeper league. So if you have a sleeper league and you want to import it here, you can see all the information that we see, for example, for one of our leagues here. And that actually makes it very simple to go through and ask a trade question, right? Because if your league is already linked, all you have to do is select the players on your team, select the players on their team that you're wanting to make a trade with, and you can kind of go through there with that process. It's the same thing for a team review as well. Now, someone asked the question, Chase and Breaker says, any particular link we need to use to get the BOGO, or will you guys just use it after the live review? So let me make this very clear. If you became an annual member in the past before this stream and you're trying to submit a team playbook now, you're not going to qualify for the BOGO offer. This is for any new annual Mother Flocker members or for any new a la carte purchases on the Flock site. Okay, that's how we've done all of these BOGO offers. But very simple, guys, as we're going to jump into some team playbooks here. It's a customized game plan for your offseason. If you want your team playbook as well as the BOGO offer, then you can become a promo code LAND annual Mother Flocker member. All right, and that will give you a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Now you choose Zach and Badaki here, and you have to move it to a live tier. Okay, you got to move it up to a live tier. That is how you get the BOGO offer. Have to submit a live team playbook, and then you can get the BOGO offer after. If you're already a member with us, you can still get this option. You just have to purchase a live playbook through the Flock site a la carte, which you can do, and you'll get a discount as an annual member. All right, so I think the first live team playbook is from Delgage and Bengal. Don't say it's not a shit show. It's fine. People had some questions, so I'm glad we were able to answer them.
No, yeah, you're all good. You're all good. So we appreciate you.
El Bardo, I think we prefer Henderson, but I think some people prefer Brees, but we both prefer Henderson. And he just comments, you guys won't answer my super chat question. We just answered it there. Just wanted to explain the other person's question first. But yes, I prefer Henderson with the age. Still top 40 draft capital. I like his situation, especially in PPR leagues. Brees is also a great asset. I think you're going to ask 5 different Dynasty creators and get 5 different answers. I just would rather turn that clock back for a similar asset and kind of reset the clock on the running back position.
Yeah, completely agree. Give me Travion Henderson. Loving that offense that he's going into there as well. Appreciate you, El Bargo.
All right.
And Badio. All right, I think we did get another super chat from. Oh no, that was a team playbook. Excuse me. Never mind. Say less.
Yes,
so that was
TX did submit a live one, but which we will definitely do. But it just won't be the BOGO offer because it was with their annual membership, which they were already an annual member.
Yeah, no, I for some reason I thought that was a super message.
That's okay. Let's go to Delage. Delage will be the first one we do here today.
All right. Appreciate you, Delage. Thank you so much for the support. And there's a new folder, by the way, because
Yeah.
technically we're in July and you guys aren't. um, Let me just double check the number really fast
Yep.
of the last playbook we had. So 471. Okay, awesome. All right, let's have a look at this team here. We appreciate you once again. Please, if you are here with us, let us know with any context. If not, that is all good here. This is looking like a 2-quarterback, 10-team start 12. So that is the deepest lineup that you can possibly have here, which is depth is king. And I'll put that there in the chat. You can see that there. The meaning you can start up to 6 or 7, wide receivers in that flex position here. And you are here, which is awesome. Once again, please jump in at any point in time. It's going to be very helpful for us here. It says full point tight end premium. Punted the startup draft last year to compete this year. Feels like I'm pretty well set up. I have 327 first and wondering if I hold tight or should try to upgrade some positions with those picks and lose my chances at that stack draft class here. And Mayo is your name, or May, FAFO.
Yeah.
And you're currently ranked first out of 10.
Yeah,
as
you've
well.
You've done a good job, and he is here with us. Steve says, I am here. Second year in a row you are reviewing this team. I love to see that when people see the value of a team playbook and then they say, you know what, I like that so much, I'm going to come back. So I love to see that.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at the squad, shall we?
Yeah, let's have a look at this team here. All right, at the quarterback position, Drake May, JJ McCarthy, Bryce Young, Tyler Shook, and Daniel Jones, who's honestly getting a little bit of steam there with Anthony Richardson's shoulder injury. I think this is a great quarterback room, young quarterback room
really
as
quarterback
well.
Room. Yeah, so much depth.
Yeah. At the running back position, Ashton Genty, Amarion Hampton, Travion Henderson. So 3 running backs in the 2025 rookie draft there. Keep in mind, you can start up to 7 wide receivers. Once again, we like to prioritize wide receivers in the flex position. You don't have to, but we like to. You're starting 7. Malik Neighbors, Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, Emeka Mbuka, Jaden Higgins, and Kyle Williams are your starting 7, with TJ Hawkinson as a full point tight end premium, with Ben Sinnott there and Luke Musgrave. So,
I mean, I can't think of a single reason not to compete with a team like this.
I completely agree.
You know, looking at pathways here just to get us started off, this is a strong contender. I can't say it's a Thanos yet, but I can't think of a single reason not to go out and compete with this team. A lot of young players who need to prove themselves, right? Your entire quarterback room falls under that umbrella, but there's enough there to put together a starting lineup each week with that quarterback room. Your entire running back room, same umbrella, but we have high expectations for them. You got a lot more foundational pieces at wide receiver and tight end. So I really do believe that there's not a single reason not to go out and compete this year. Honestly, like, yeah, of course we can have expectations that, you know, in 2027 we can even build a bigger, you know, squad here, but I don't see any reason not to say contender. Your starting lineup is probably going to be May, McCarthy, Genty, Hampton, Neighbors, Puka, Hawkinson. That is your top 7. Now you have to start 5 more. That's fine. We have the depth for that. We can start Travion Henderson, Marvin, Odunze, Egbuka. How many is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is 11, and Jaden Higgins. Now, clearly, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you have the strongest depth for a contender from the sense of, like, there's not a Devontae Adams in your flex, the Cortland Suttons, the Tyreek Hills.
Yeah,
like,
there's
these guys
still
that,
question marks.
You know, the Jerry Judys, you just know they're going to put up weeks that you can rely on right now, but they are guys that could develop into that. And without your own first-round pick as well, I don't see a reason not to contend. I'm not going to call this a windows open just because, you know, there is, like, you could easily, like, screw this team up. Not, how do I say it? This team could easily underperform, and then next offseason we're still saying, like, you're a contender based off of the youth of this team, right?
Yeah, no question.
So, yeah, I would definitely say strong contender. But go ahead and walk us through some admin stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, I like strong contender as well. And let's go through draft capital. Not having your first in 26, but 3 in 27. I'm just going to give that a B flat still. B flat, B minus. Overall team grade.
But three first and 27. I'd say that's more valuable than having 1 first in You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I would say more like B plus for
B
me
plus, that's
personally.
okay.
Yeah.
Overall team grade, I'm just gonna put it as an A. I think this is a pretty good team.
Okay.
A minus, however way we want to do it. Untouchables, Malik Neighbors, Puka Nakua, and Ashton Genty. We can put 3 untouchables there. Holds, Roma Dunze, Martin Harrison Jr. is a hold. We would also say like the Meek and Bukas, the JJ McCarthy's. Now you won't see that on the graphic here, Steve, but you will know who to hold. Easy drops, Jonathan Mingo, Andre Yeshivas are 2 guys I'm willing to drop there. And there's really no one on the waiver wires that I want to pick up at the moment. You can definitely take shots at some people.
Team, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. You can definitely take shots on some people if you really wanted to. Names I would take a shot on could be like, the Keyshawn Bouttes, the Savion Williams if you wanted to. I wouldn't mind taking a shot on Chig with Cam. I just like the little swag they have there in Tennessee. I don't know why I'm starting to grow. I think I watched their little off-season short film. I was like, holy shit. By the way, really well shot anyways. But that's all lit for admin.
It's the old off-season bump. It's like when we watch,
but
Hard
to be
Knocks,
honest,
everyone's like, you know what? I am going to draft all these players
It wasn't necessarily based off of Chigakonkwo because I don't think he was in it.
Right.
It wasn't not even him. I'm just saying the way it was shot was like, I love what they're doing in Tennessee in a video perspective, but doesn't mean they're going to be good, right?
Okay,
anyways,
well,
continue.
Taking this over to your draft, because obviously you finished your 2026 draft, and I gave you an A++. I gave you as good of a possible outcome as you can have, in my opinion, A++. I mean, how do you get a better draft than this? How do you draft the 101, the 102, then a top 5 pick in Henderson, then come back with Emeka Egbuka, Jaden Higgins? I don't know how you have a better draft. You just have more draft capital, maybe? I don't know. Maybe that's how you have a better draft. But this is about as good of an outcome as you could possibly get, especially considering, think about your team before the draft. What was your biggest need? Running back. You now have 3 of my top 6 running backs in Dynasty football in my rankings. So very easily an A++ draft. Not only did you get the best players available, but you also filled a need. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone type of vibe. So an incredible draft. You didn't need quarterbacks. Thank God you didn't need quarterbacks in this draft. Now, as far as like moves moving forward, the way this team is set up, I really like. There's a couple ideas that I have, but I really don't feel like we need to force anything. Like, I can't think of a single player on this team where I'm like, yeah, they don't fit your timeline. You do need to move on from, a Josh Jacobs that you don't have, a Tyreek Hill, that you don't have, the Mike Evans, the aging veterans. You don't have those guys on this team. Even Hawkinson is still young for the tight end position, at least in my personal opinion, right? So what I would suggest with this team, if we're going to make any move, is maybe to sell high on Tyler Shuck, because the odds say, yes, he will start, but history says he's probably not going to be a good fantasy quarterback. And the odds of him getting replaced are much greater than the odds of him becoming a franchise quarterback. I'm not sitting here on the stream saying Tyler Shuck's going to bust, but I'm just playing the odds game with this type of statement, right? Which is simply to say the odds say it's more likely he's a bust than he's a useful asset for your team. So can we use like Tyler Shuck and add him on to like a Hawkinson? Can we find a way to get into like a Trey McBride if we use one of those first type of range? Or can we use Tyler Shuck and instead of looking at the tight end position at all, can we use Tyler Shuck and your 2nd round pick in 2026 and look at a different running back that can maybe help us in the flex this year, or look at a different wide receiver that can maybe help us in the flex this year? And then you still have a 3rd quarterback in Bryce Young and Daniel Jones there at the bottom anyway. So I'd like to find a way to improve the team in like a 2-for-1 type of scenario, Badaki. So that's the way I was going to take this. Let me know if you have a different idea.
No, I think the other idea that I wanted to explore, if you really wanted to continue to dig like your nails into this competing team, is since you already got rid of your 1st and 26, maybe we can use a 2nd to go ahead and, do we buy a little bit more depth at the wide receiver position? Can we go out and use a 2nd to get still a young asset, for example, like Shakira or Downs or a one of these lower end wide receivers that still has the ability to grow with their team. Um,
Yeah.
if you wanted to do that, right? I know a lot of people like Jalen Coker. Can we go out and get a Jalen Coker? Or even still continue to get like a Jack Besh? Can we use a second to get a Jack Besh and then to continue to keep it within that range? So that's kind of the thought process that I
He's
had.
got a lot of young assets, so I don't I like that idea, but I think we should go for like a veteran if we go that route as
Yeah, or
well.
we
But
could do the veteran route as well, like the Adams, the Godwins, if we wanted to. I'm happy to go that route as well. Um, or the Jerry Judys, if you will, if you can get a second for him,
yeah.
you know. So yeah, I'm happy to go whichever way we wanted to go there.
Okay, sounds good. So we will be on the same page there, which is great. Now, I guess the question becomes, what names in particular are we going to be wanting to target there, right? Devontae Adams comes to mind for me.
Yep.
You on the same page there?
Yeah. Devontae, I think of Devontae Adams. Yeah, I can spit out some names. I think of Devontae Adams. Older guys here: Chris Godwin, Mike Evans.
Definitely like the Godwin one. Tyreek Hill might be harder to acquire now after
you
the
can even
Jonnu trade.
But you can potentially do like a third in something to get like the Cooper Kupps, the Stephon Diggs of the world, the Deebo Samuels.
Right. Yeah.
Michael Pittman's could be interesting.
Sure.
You know,
that's not a bad idea. What about Khalil Shakir? He might be like the perfect like glue guy for your wide receiver room.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is great. Now, if we go the other route where we kind of tie Shuck onto a second round pick, we can probably aim a little bit higher. If I go and I look at my rankings here and look at the wide receiver position, like Shuck in a second. Let's look at my rankings here. Shuck in a second, we can probably get to like the... I definitely think Ayuk range is possible.
Are you talking about wide receiver? Right, okay.
Yeah, like Chris
to
Olave maybe? Do we already have Olave? I can't remember. No, we don't.
No, we
so
don't.
like Olave would actually be a perfect addition to this team. Brandon Ayuk in a third or something. You know what I mean? In return, I think could make a lot of sense. Can you do like the same with Ayuk, Jalen Waddle in a third?
Yeah.
Maybe you can't get that after the Jonnu Smith trade, but still worth trying. You could probably get a Devonta Smith in some leagues, not every league, but you could probably get him straight up. Just like some, middle-aged veteran receivers that, like DK Metcalf, for example, sounds perfect actually. He might be actually like the perfect. Him and Olave, I feel like from a value perspective, the perfect like glue guys for this team.
Yeah.
But those are the names that like come to mind to me. I don't think you can get to like the Dunze, AJ Brown range, the Higgins, the Rice. I don't think those ranges are possible. But that's kind of the range I would say personally.
I guess the next thing we can do is if you wanted to do that and get a guy that we really like, you could potentially just do a swap for your 27 first.
But I would rather utilize this second, but we can also look at running backs too.
Yeah,
if we're looking for a flex, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Would you pay this for CMC or no? Or Derrick Henry?
Not Tyler Shuck in a second.
Okay.
I don't know if I would. I would want to bank on or play my chances with Tyler Shuck over CMC and Derrick Henry.
Okay.
If 26. I'm going Tyler Shuck in a second, I'm looking more. I would be looking more at like the Kenneth Walker range or like the RJ Harvey range, like the younger type of guy.
Sure.
But
I'm fine with either of them. But CMC, Henry, Walker, Harvey, all great calls. Caleb Johnson you could put in there. James Cook, in some leagues potentially. So you really, if you just get one of these deals done, I think you're fine. If you add a Tyreek Hill, great. All we're trying to do is just give you a little bit more solidified flex. That's the only thing you really need to do with this team, honestly. Like you've already put yourself on the right path. So
I guess the same can be said with even like the second on the veteran route. right? Can you use a second to go out and get like the James Conner or the Montes or the Joe Mixons of the world?
Sure. Yeah.
Can you buy Trey Benson right now on the low for a second? If you could sneak that in your league. Not sure how sharp your league is. Um, that's probably as far down. You can do Alvin as well. I think you just put that there.
Any one trade, like this isn't a team to me where I'm like, all right, let's use all your 27 firsts and let's just throw everything at the kitchen sink right now. I just don't think you need to. I think you can be patient. If you don't win the championship this year, that's fine. We're just giving you a little bit of a oomph there at that flex position to kind of get yourself more in that contender range. But even if you just make the playoffs and you're looking towards next year, and like people are looking at Henderson and Hampton and they have more expectations this year, Najee is gone and JJ McCarthy has broken out or Bryce Young has broken out, like you still have those 3 firsts and 27, which they will only have more value next year, by the way. This class is going to be very good. So yeah. I think this is the plan for Delage1717. And please let us know, Steve, I know you're in the chat. Let us know if you have any questions, if there's anything that we didn't answer well enough, my friend.
I know I kind of mentioned the 27 first, and you kind of just brought it up here, Steve. I think the issue with this is that these 27 firsts are on teams that aren't as strong, so they're most likely going to be early, right? Like you have Team Legends and Triple Brow. That's currently Team 7 and Team 8 in your league. Now, they don't have terrible teams, but they can definitely fall off, right? Yep. So I would just keep those 27 firsts and see what happens. Yeah. All those firsts. Now, if that was like if you had the number one team's 27 first, then I would consider potentially trading it away. But
yeah, and I think like first. Look, if you have like a Josh Allen on this team and a Saquon and a Nico Collins, you know, we're having a different conversation, but you can afford to be patient and kind of play this as you go. So yeah, appreciate you big time. Now keep in mind that the time code is not going to be accurate that you receive, but Aki, when will he get his team playbook?
Yeah, appreciate you, Steve. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours in the Flock Fantasy Message System, customized with everything that we drew up here for you today. But yeah, appreciate you, man. All love.
Appreciate you big time. Is Faithville, did they do the live one, or is that an offline playbook?
I think that is an offline.
That looks
at
offline.
The moment.
Okay. And we'll have to make sure we send them a message as well. I'll do that now. So it looks like our next actual live one is TX Cajun, which I believe he's in the chat with us. And I'll send awesome. Faithville a message. Just don't forget to send people about the time code. It will be 20 minutes past for everyone that we finished today. So,
yeah.
All right, TX Cajun, you are with us, brother.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. You know the drill. Please let us know.
Yes.
If there's anything that, any context or anything that you want to include here.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just a heads up, 2 big things for everybody watching today's stream. Number 1, we are doing a giveaway at the very end. We're giving away a Trey question voucher. If you want to enter today's giveaway, it's very simple. You type LAND into the YouTube chat, LAND, and you like the stream. That's as simple as it can possibly get. Actually, 3 things. The second thing that you need to know is that tomorrow we will be doing our first live stream of the year on our redraft channel. Okay, I'll spam that link in the chat. So please come join us tomorrow. That will be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Would love to have you there. Let's talk about the fantasy football season. Let's talk drafts. Let's talk player evaluation, how we're valuing them for this upcoming season. It'll be valuable for any Dynasty player as well. And the last thing that you guys need to know is on today's stream and today's stream only, we're doing a BOGO offer. Now, here's how that works. If you want your team playbook, customized game plan for your offseason, we'll do customized trade targets for you, give you a direction for your team, then become a promo code LAND annual Mother Flock. Remember, that will give you a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Now, choose Zach and Badaki with the team review, but you got to know if you want the BOGO offer, you have to make it a live team playbook. So you got to move that slider up to a live team playbook. And after you submit your live team playbook, we will go ahead and give you another voucher after we review your team for an offline playbook as well for that BOGO offer, okay? Now, have to say that you can't, like, if you became an annual member like a couple months ago or before the stream, you can't then submit a team playbook now and and have the BOGO offer. It's only for new annual Mother Flocker members, but if you're already a member with us on the Flock site, you can still go to like the a la carte option as a member. You get a discount because you're a member, and submit a team playbook and get the BOGO offer as well, as long as it's a live team playbook. So hopefully that makes sense. Check out the link in the pinned comment if you want to learn a little bit more, and I will put another link in the comment section for you guys. But let's get on to our next review here with TX.
All right, appreciate you. TX, let us know if you have any questions, man. Appreciate you. One quarterback, 12 team, start 9, 0.5 tight end premium. So that is our classic middle grounds in a one quarterback league. Meaning that you can start up to 5 wide receivers in that league here. Yep. And let's have a read of this context. He says, looking for some advice on how to approach this season. I think I'm in a hold position as of now. No value picks to move until 27. And not sure if I can contend if I move one of my better players. Running back is my weak position. But I don't think I can get a running back that makes a difference without moving a star wide receiver or tight end. Okay. So let's have a look.
He says 2 flex, not 3. Does that mean that you have an extra wide receiver? So is it start 3 wide receivers? Let us know.
Yeah, like it's just flopped around. Either way, you still have start 9. It's just.
So is it actually a start 8 then?
Yeah. Yeah, on the front end, on the back end, it says start 8.
Okay, so it's actually a start 8. Okay.
So I'll put the new one. So that is meat and potatoes. So nothing too crazy then.
All right, okay, that's helpful to know.
Sorry. Yeah, okay, that's fine. We can definitely swap that, no doubt about it. But let's have a look at your team here. You currently rank 7th out of 12, and your team name is the A team here. Okay, let's have a look at this. At your quarterback position, Jalen Hurts, Michael Penix, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones is a good quarterback room. Once again, you don't have to do anything there. At the running back position, Kyron Williams, DeAndre Swift, Ray Davis, Big O Roscoe, and that's it. And it falls off there. So I understand your running back room is a little bit weak. With a meat and potatoes lineup, meaning you have to start 4 wide receivers, and here's your starting 4: Puka, Nico, Olave, DK, and then on the bench you have Jameson. I guess really just Jameson, De'Ami Brown, Jordan Whittington. The list goes on with Trey McBride and Dalton Kincaid. Now you don't have your first in 20, which you haven't done your rookie drafts actually in 25, and you don't have your first in 26. But you did mention that you do have your 27. You have all your 27 first. So just let us know if you do have that there. Okay. So no first or seconds until 27. Okay, awesome. When it comes down, going straight into admin stuff, untouchables, Jalen Hurts is somebody that comes to mind. Puka Nacua comes to mind as well. I don't think Trey McBride is a hold in a 0.5 tight end premium as of yet, at least for me personally.
Trey McBride.
But he's definitely.
What do you mean?
Trey McBride. I was just saying, like, no, I'm just saying he's not a untouchable. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
When it comes down to holds in this league, probably have a bunch. I would say Michael Penix is definitely going to be a hold here. Chris Olave is a hold as well. I would also say Dalton Kincaid is going to be a hold. Hopefully he has a better bounce back this year. And I guess the other hold technically would be a name like DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest, I don't think this team is in a very good spot at all. Just full transparency, like straight off the cuff, honest feedback. I think you're in a really, really difficult position as a team. Quarterback room is actually fine. But that running back room is just really, really bad. And there's no way to improve it in 2026 or 2027. So you're going to have to rely on outside factors. Sorry, you're going to have to rely on internal growth. So Penix is going to have to break out, and you're going to have to use him as a tear down, right? There's not a running back that I think is going to drastically improve their value. At wide receiver, I don't see a wide receiver drastically improving their value. Like maybe Olave becomes like a top 15 guy if he recovers, but I don't see any one of those names like breaking out and just a whole bunch of new values uncovered. Maybe Kincaid can bounce back, but like you don't have these names like the Adunzes that could break out and break fantasy, like I just think you have very limited movability with a roster like this.
Yeah,
he says they have IDP too, so it helps even out offensive weaknesses. Okay, so do you have like a superstar IDP squad then? Because that wouldn't that wouldn't really show on our side. So if you have like a superstar IDP team, and then this is the team that's carrying you offensively, then maybe that's where the carry off is for you. And he says yes. So maybe that's the case. We're only going to judge it as an offensive team. Keep that in mind, Cajun. But you can keep in mind that, like, I'm telling you now, that makes sense. Like, if the rest of your team on IDP is just, like, superstar, they're studded, and this offensive side of it is kind of just carrying, you with whatever IDP hasn't done for you, then does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Your running back room is really bad, though. Outside of those top two, I don't know how long we can rely on DeAndre Swift, but outside of Kyron Williams, there's not a lot of solidified names that I feel super great about building around, and I don't know how we fix that outside of like a tear down from a Puka, a tear down from a Hurts, and I don't know if we want to do that.
Yeah, you're kind of in a weird position right here. I would personally feel like you might be in a position for the next 2 years of just trying to do the best you can with what you have. But at the same time, also maybe just adding small pivot moves or pivoting it in ways. My instant thought was, okay, your running back room is not good, but can I use that third to get a Jordan Mason? Could that help your team? Or Tank Bigsby? And maybe that's enough, or maybe that's not enough. Can I use that third to get Aaron Jones or Tony Pollard or Javonte Williams to see if this team can compete? Because I feel like that's really the only weakness is that RB2. And like Zach said, there's a lot of guys that we're still relying on. We're relying on the Chris Olaves that we hope for. Like, I'm not a big DK guy, but like, is he going to be better with Aaron Rodgers? What is Michael Penix going to be? Hell, can you pivot off of DK Metcalf and get some more value somehow, some way, tearing down? Even though he's probably not a big tear down guy, actually.
This kind of reminds me of a team that I have in the Juliet League, where DeAndre Swift is my RB2 as well. And I feel really good about a lot of the lineup, but there's some clear weaknesses. Like I have Puka as well as you, London, Higgins, DK, but I have like Stafford as my quarterback 2, Darnold as my quarterback 3. I don't have like an RB2 that I really feel comfortable with. I mean, I have Swift there, and I have, I think this team might have more flexibility at RB2 than yours might, but it kind of reminds me of like, this is a team that I think could make the playoffs. The difference is I have all my picks still. So I still feel like I have the control of like the flexibility with my roster, whereas I don't think your roster has that sort of flexibility. So I think Badaki is right. Like, we do need to find a way to maybe add to that RB room. I think that should be our main goal. Overall team grade, we're only grading offensively. I
would say this is like a C+.
Yeah.
Type of team.
That's where I lean, because you can't be any worse than that with like the combo of Hurts, Nakua, McBride, and Collins. That 4 right there alone is very good. It's just the depth is really, really bad. But it's only a start 8, so that definitely helps you as well when we're looking at your team.
Yeah, if this was a start 9, maybe it would have been a little bit more difficult. But I guess you had Jameson to kind of still cover you. When it comes down to draft capital, I guess you just put like an F because you don't really have too much. At least for the next, maybe we can do like D- because you still have your first in 27 at least.
He does. Oh, he does. Okay.
In 27, he does, and then obviously this is going to be Windows open. Untouchables, but I think we went through everything. Untouchables: Jalen Hurts, Puka, Holt, Michael Penix, Olave, Dalton, Swift. Easy drops: Hunter Renfrow, Treylon Burks. You can drop Adam Thielen, Michael Carter, Zeke, Stone Smart, Jaheim Bell, if you wanted to. There's a bunch of drops that you can have in this league. Let's just go to the waiver wires really fast. See if there's anyone.
Well, he hasn't done his draft yet.
Oh, true. You haven't done your draft.
But
look, that 4. We can talk about that 406. You can get a little sneaky there with like a Kyle Manungai or something.
Taj Brooks comes to mind.
The Brashard Smiths, Kyle Manungai, Taj Brooks. I don't think there's anyone else.
I would say this. Taj Brooks comes to mind. Kyle Manungai, you said. I would probably put JCM ahead of them now. Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt. Probably still Taj Brooks first, but JCM after Taj. Then Kyle Manungai, Taj Brooks. Who else did we say?
I said Brashard Smith.
Yeah, Brashard Smith is actually still a very good one. I love those top 3. I still like Kyle as well. These are just dart throws. Those are the main ones, I'd say.
Yeah.
You can't really trade it, though.
No, you can't.
No one's going to give you anything worthwhile for the 406. But maybe there's some flexibility with, like, Daniel Jones. Can we find the owner
Anthony Richardson
and find a way to get a running back there? So who has Richardson? And by the way, we're kind of with the pathway. It goes without saying that this is a windows open because there's no reason not to compete with the position you put yourself in. I would argue that the guy who has Anthony Richardson kind of needs Daniel Jones. Oh, he has Chase Brown, unfortunately, but he has Jordan Mason. What about like a Mason Pittman edition here? And we'll find a way to even this out. But if you can give us Jordan Mason plus Michael Pittman, and we give you Daniel Jones, and what do we have? Like, we have our second? No, we have our third. Okay, that might be harder then. Well, what about something simple like this? We get Jordan Mason and a future third, and we'll send you Daniel Jones and a fourth. Right?
Yeah. I hear you.
That could make sense. Now, the issue is, if Daniel Jones wins that job and he's actually good, he has the upside that...
Good value.
Yeah, like Jordan Mason, I don't think has that upside, and I still love Jordan Mason, but both could easily be worth nothing.
I think in this perspective, specifically for this Jordan Mason trade, I would rather keep, like, if I could do Daniel Jones and a fourth just for like a Michael Pittman. Well, actually, no, we need a running back, so never mind.
Yeah. So the other idea, we can tack that third on, and we can shoot a little higher if we want. But you're not going to get Chase Brown for this. And that's what that owner has. But why don't we try and find, we don't have to restrict ourselves just to that owner. Who else needs quarterback? Let's sort by quarterback strength. Wow, your league is in a weird place, my friend. Would you do like a Tyrone Tracy swap?
Yeah, I would.
I don't think you need to add the third in this one. But it depends on the person. Would you do... Okay, can we find our way to Kamara? I think that is maybe... that's maybe our ultimate goal, but I don't know if that's possible. In a lot of leagues, I don't think it would be possible. But if not Kamara... what about trying to go like a Bigsby ETN? Trying to find our way into both of those names.
We can.
So, like, you add the third and the fourth. I don't know. A lot of these are not going to get accepted, but we're going to have to give you as many opportunities to open a door. You're just in a really strange position, my friend. I don't mind the idea of, like, a Joe Mixon for Jones in the third type of vibe.
Yeah.
Montgomery would be great. James Conner.
Yeah.
Just something to give you a little bit more of an edge because you really have no reason to hold on to those 26 picks anyway. But I think those are most of the teams that need quarterback anyway. He says, I need a lot of options. Trading is very difficult. We're going to give you as many options as possible here. But I think those are your main options for running back in particular. Swift does become more of a hold now. The other way we could do this is maybe flip Darnold instead. I think Darnold has maybe higher outcomes.
Yeah, I feel like maybe. I'm just trying
Like
to think.
Darnold and Kelsey to a tight end and quarterback needy team.
We got to find the quarterback and tight end needy team.
So let's just sort by tight end strength and let's make sure that they're competing. So like team 11 Eskimo Cowboy has Ben Sinnott. Now the unfortunate part is what is going on with like the strength of your league. Your league is so strangely divided.
Penny Pince, he could be the guy.
I don't think he's competing. Oh, actually, he might be.
He might try to if he can get him Sam Darnold. He just lost Jonnu Smith, so he's probably saying fuck.
So we asked for CMC in this deal, and maybe ask if they can throw in what, like a Jonnu Smith at this point, or like we add a third and they give us a second or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we could pick swap maybe, trying to get into the second. Family friendly. Sorry.
Yeah. Come on. Okay, that's an idea.
I know some of these words.
Yeah. Dallas Goedert, the guy who has Dallas Goedert, he has Chuba Hubbard. I think Chuba Hubbard is a really, really ideal target here, actually. And maybe another area where we could do a pick swap.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So much is happening in the NBA today. I'm just keep seeing new updates. But yeah, Chuba Hubbard makes a lot of sense. Let's keep looking. The guy who has Pat Fryermuth is probably devastated right now. He has Chase Brown, though, so we can't really do much with him. What about James Cook?
Sam Darnold. Same deal.
Yeah, Darnold and Kelsey for Cook in a third or something.
It says the guy who has DG at tight end, Dallas Goedert wants McBride for Dallas Goedert. Unrealistic. He's an unrealistic trade partner, essentially. He's trying to
say. But you can't really be too, like, obviously you don't accept that trade, right? But you can't rule people out as far as just sending the offer. Like, I've had a lot of people I've had to deal with like that as well, where they send you offers where you're like, yeah, we're not even on the same atmosphere. We're in different worlds. But then you still send them trades, and sometimes it's rare, but sometimes you can come to a conclusion of a place where both people are happy. But I will grant it that it doesn't always happen. I think
he goes to KTC and just throws stuff together.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, then that means you just need to throw it through KTC and make it look good too as well. What about Ken Walker for like a similar? Well, this guy is Mark Andrews. We've kind of lost our power now, but those are the main teams with tight ends. I think that could make sense. So getting one of these deals done, ideally focusing on improving RB2 is the main direction I would really take this team. But I'll be honest, like after this season, I could easily see a scenario in which you're like, all right, I have my 27 for, well, shit, you don't have your 26th pick. No, because that's fine. Sorry, yeah. My brain is like the draft hasn't happened yet. Okay, so sorry. After this season, going into next season where we're looking at the 27 class, please keep your picks because I could easily see this team being in a position where it's like, all right, it's time to tear down from Hurts. It's time to sell Kyron. Let's start to think about the future. But right now, I think you're in this Windows open mindset. And please let us know if you have any questions that we didn't answer.
The other thing that I would try to explore, and maybe that's just my bias of DK, is tearing down from a DK Metcalf.
I just don't think you can tear down. I don't think there's any, like, what name can you actually tear down to? I don't think there's much power there.
Ricky Pearsall?
I don't think you can tear down to him for anything. Like, for a third, maybe?
I think you can do Ricky Pearsall. Let's see the Ricky Pearsall team. If we can do Ricky and a running back, if possible. This guy's Ricky Pearsall and like a James Conner or David Montgomery. That might be doable. I don't know how you feel about that. I would be interested in that.
DK Metcalf is a wide receiver 26. Ricky Pearsall's 33. They're in tier 12 and 13 on KTC. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think it's possible, but I don't mind the idea that you just mentioned where you get what? Ricky Pearsall and what?
It's either Monty or Connor there.
Okay, so maybe you send your... I think you'd have to send like your third to make this happen at least.
Yeah, if sending the third to make that happen, I'll be okay still to do that, because I'm still getting a wide receiver that I love, that's still very young, pivoting, who's going to be locked into a contract with a quarterback, and you're getting James Conner, who can at least help you this year. You're just staying within that same tier, my perspective, at the wide receiver position, and getting a better running back. But that was the first thing that came to mind. I agree. There's very limited names that you can tier down to from DK.
Yeah, and I
without it being,
I do think one thing that TX should consider is that if you make a move like this, you're kind of just personally, I think you're kind of achieving the opposite goal that you have. Not if you had a running back, but like the sense of like being all in, trying to win this year. Going from DK to Ricky is not accomplishing that goal necessarily. But if you're able to add the running back on, then sure. But like a deal that's only with the running back. A deal that straight up just goes Metcalf to Pearsall is not accomplishing the goal that.
I completely agree, and it's only with the running back, and that can be. I don't know if you want to go even lower. Like, we don't have to, but like whoever. Like, can I get a Devontae Adams and get a higher running back, like a Devontae Adams and a. I'm trying to think of a name at the running back position, like a Kenneth Walker. I doubt you can do that, or like a Chuba Hubbard.
Adams hype is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah, but like if that person doesn't believe about the Devontae Adams hype, then maybe you can go that route of going even lower at the wide receiver, but going higher at the running back position. But yeah, keep that in mind, Tex. But anyways, once again, the floor is yours. Let us know if you have any last-minute questions. And as always, you should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message System.
One question. He says, for my fourth, would you take Monangai over the other running back, since you mentioned I already have Swift? Personally, but for me, I would rather just say we need to find in an ideal world, Swift retains his job and you get a Brooks that finds a role through injury, or a JCM that finds a role through injury, or Brashard Smith develops a role. You know what I mean? So that's definitely like the safer route, but it doesn't equal more upside on your team this year.
No, it doesn't. I think like what gives you comfort is that no matter who's going to be the guy in that backfield, at least you have the running back. But you won't know that on a week-to-week basis. Until like, they actually break out. So in my rankings, technically, I have like the Brashard Smith, Monangai, then Taj Brooks. But I'm happy however way you go. I think don't force it. Let it come naturally to you. And if either of these guys are available, I would still just follow the rankings, and you have that rookie report in the rankings there, Tex, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah,
but appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support.
All right, we have Nav and we have Chasing Breakers up next. Friendly reminder to anyone out there who doesn't know, on today's stream and today's stream only, we are doing a BOGO offer, buy one get one on our team playbooks. You can either become a annual Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. That will give you a voucher, but you have to make sure when you submit your team playbook on the site that it's a live team playbook. Slide it to the live tier, and then you will get a offline playbook for free. And we're going to do that here for these next two guys, for Nav and Chasing Breakers. Can't promise when this offer is going to be back. Maybe it'll be back at some point this week, or maybe it won't. I don't know, but this is a BOGO offer that we're doing today. If you are already an annual Mother Flocker member and you submit your team playbook now, you're not going to qualify. But if you're already an annual Mother Flocker member, you can still go through the Flock store, purchase one a la carte, just like Chasing Breakers did here, for example. He's a member with us. He purchased one a la carte, and he's still going to apply and get his BOGO offer too. So let us know if you guys have any questions, but you can check out the link in the pinned comment. Let's get to the next playbook here from Nav. You are muted.
I am muted. Sorry. Nav, appreciate you, man.
And
Let us know if you are here with us.
one thing I think we should note just with the IDP TX mentioned, like, yeah, shoot higher if players fall. Like, for example, if Tootin is somehow there with the IDP being involved, or Jaden Blue, these are other names that you could consider in that range as well. I mean, throw DJ Giddens in there. So yeah, our, like Wadaki said, you have our draft guide. So all right, sorry, let's go.
No, you're totally fine. All right, Nav, he says is here. I'm assuming that's Day Day. Shout out to Day Day. Two quarterback, 12 team start 10. And hey, let us know if there's anything that's incorrect, anything you want us to explore. Put it in the chat and we'll definitely get into it. This is our classic middle ground here. Once again, two quarterback, super flex, start 10, 0.5 tight end premium here. Your team name is Nakua Matata. And let's read this context. He says, got second last year. Don't know if I should contend or reload. Just traded Ridley and a second for Pearsall.
Nice.
Could trade Gibbs for London and a first if that's a route that you guys think of. So could trade Jahmyr Gibbs for London and a 26 first. I guess
Okay.
it all depends on your team. So let's have a look. And you're currently ranked 6 out of 12 here. And let's go into it here. At the quarterback position, Patrick Mahomes, J.J. McCarthy, 2 with tags. That's all you need. I think that's a good quarterback room, especially with J.J. hopefully breaking out this year. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, James Conner, Trey Benson, Brian Robinson, Brashard Smith. Looks like you did your rookie draft here as well. So I like this running back room. Looking at the wide receiver position, once again, you can start up to 5 wide receivers. Here's your starting 5. Puka, AJ, Rome, Ricky, Jack Besh is your starting 5. With Jalen McMillan, Cedric Tillman, and Jalen Coker all in the wings there, with David Njoku and Brenton Strange at your tight end position. Now, going up to this trade that you were talking about, you can trade Jahmyr Gibbs for London and a 26 first. I think that kind of hurts your team.
Yeah, it doesn't accomplish a goal that you need accomplished,
No.
which is to improve the running back position.
I think that hurts your team. So, like, I personally wouldn't be doing that.
I'm actually open to 2 moves. One is like a tear down from Mahomes. The other is a tear down from Gibbs. But I don't know that I would do the tear down from Gibbs if it doesn't include a running back. Like, it needs to be a very select group of running backs and an add-on, which we'll talk about. So we'll talk about that all in a second, but I don't think the London and the first deal is really going to accomplish what you have in mind here. But yeah, let's go through it. The untouchables are Gibbs and Puka, but we might trade Gibbs. We'll talk about that. The holds, definitely J.J. McCarthy. Trey Benson comes to mind as a really solid hold. Ricky Pearsall. Jack Besh, I have a feeling he's going to start off a little slow. Let's hold, based on what we heard in camp, so let's hold him. He's still going to be a quality player, I think. As far as drops, I mean, you could drop Gardner Minshew if you want. I know why you have him with Mahomes there. Mason Rudolph is easily droppable as well if you'd like. I don't feel a need to hold on to Jalen Polk if you want to clear up room, but not that you have to drop any of those guys because your draft is already finished. Waiver wire, there's no one super interesting. Overall team grade, I'll probably lean like a. This feels like C plus, B minus maybe. It's around that range.
Yeah, let's do C plus.
Yeah, it might be closer to a.
Actually, let's do B minus.
Yeah.
I think the reason why we're thinking C plus is I think there's a lot of what ifs here.
Yeah.
JJ has to hit. What does Trey Benson look like if James Conner goes down? Is Roma Dunze, Ricky, Jack Besh gonna hit, right? What is that offense gonna look like there with the Browns quarterback, with David Njoku and Brenton Strange? Still a lot of question marks, but guys that we like still when it comes down to looking at your team there.
Yeah, big time. Okay, have we done all admin?
Draft capital B minus because you don't have your second. Pathway forward.
That's the question.
I think this pathway forward is.
I think you're a sleeper.
Yeah, a sleeper. Once again, kind of like what I just said. a lot of things have to happen here for you, but at the same time, we need to add a little bit more pieces potentially to help you just solidify some of these
move
holes.
around the power of assets that you have and make some moves here. All right, so your draft, I don't think you even had you didn't have a first round pick. You might have had a mid-second or something. So hard for you to get a really high draft grade when you clearly didn't have a single first round pick. I gave you a C-. I do like Jack Besh a lot, like Brashard Smith a lot. Outside of that, we are just throwing darts. And let's be honest, Brashard Smith is a dart himself. Jack Besh is not a guarantee. We know the hit rate on round 2 wide receivers, but I do love Jack Besh, so he's my favorite player that you drafted. Now, if we're going to tear down from Mahomes, we can explore that. And if you're going to tear down from Gibbs, I think this is what we should start off first with, because tearing down from Gibbs, there's really a limited amount of names that I would do that with,
down to.
Right? Yeah, so you have to go from Gibbs to like a Hampton, Henderson, Judkins, Bucky, Achane. It has to be one of those names for me to do it. So let's say that again. So Hampton,
Henderson, Judkins, Bucky, Achane.
Yeah, it has to be one of those names. I'm not really willing to tear down any further than that. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, let's look at Hampton. I'm okay with these guys. I would probably say you can potentially throw Saquon in there, but I know some people will still have him in that same tier potentially.
The only reason I don't say Saquon is because you
still want to be young.
I want flexibility if this doesn't work out.
Yeah, I get you. And ABCD has Saquon and Omarion, so
okay.
Funny enough.
Well, let's shoot for Hampton then. Like a Omarion Hampton. The issue here is there's no like wide receiver that makes sense here. I mean, yeah. See, this team doesn't make much sense, I don't think, because what are we gonna do? Like Hampton Cook in a first? Maybe. Does that feel good? No. Not really. This is gonna be late first.
It doesn't. All right. Well, let's go Henderson. Travion Henderson. I think also pretty rough.
Yeah. Do we have a tight end? I can't remember. Who was our tight end? David Njoku.
Njoku.
Yeah, I mean, look, the other option here, like to make this very simple, like Hampton in 2 firsts or something. You know what I mean? Henderson in 2 firsts. And then what you can do with that is you can either build around those firsts in the future and get a little younger, or you can turn some of those firsts into
into players.
So you add another running back, you add a wide receiver, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, not a lot of like player flexibility with those first 2 names, unfortunately. So let's look at Judkins now. So Judkins could work.
Yeah.
Like, what about Judkins London? Oh, we don't want the first in 26. Just give us Judkins in London.
Yeah.
Because he's already willing to move London. Just say, hey, well, we're actually closer than you think we are. Just give us Judkins in London.
Yeah, just give me Judkins.
Now, is that enough there alone for Gibbs? Judkins in London? I don't think it's far off. I mean, we could potentially ask for like a pick swap. I don't think you can do a first and second, but maybe do you think you could swing like a second, fourth swap or something? Maybe.
What's his team looking like again? Would you want to then, instead of not saying that's not a bad trade, I'm just giving more options. Would you want Jaden Reed, or would you rather have the pick swaps?
I'd be fine with like either, honestly.
That was the other option I can think of. There's no tight ends.
I don't think we send a pick back if we do that though. But yeah, that's probably a fair middle ground there. Judkins, London, and Reed. Because London in the first probably wasn't going to be enough for us anyway. Because this guy's team is going to be decent. But yeah, say, hey, we don't really want your firsts. How about this? So yeah, I think that's actually maybe one of the better trades we've come up with today. These ideas in general here. Okay, so we've explored Judkins. Now let's look at maybe Bucky, and then we'll look at Devon.
Yeah. So Bucky, I think Bucky is potentially doable as well.
Okay, I like to hear that.
Maybe Bucky T.
Okay, Bucky T. Is Bucky Bryan? That's unrealistic. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a like what if it's Bucky Bryan, but we send back like Pearsall and something? I don't know. Probably not realistic. But what about like Gibbs, Pearsall, and a second or something? Like the odds are that's not getting accepted, but I also don't think that really accomplishes the goal we have in mind. So never mind. So yeah, I think you're right. It probably has to be Bucky T.
I don't think you can get more from that from Bucky and T. At least in my perspective, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that far off from like London Judkins, so we can find ways to stretch it further, like adding a Mike Evans or something, or you know, an Evans, a Mason Taylor. You know, and you send let's say you send like a future fourth or a third or whatever, you can kind of figure that one out. But of course, we're kind of giving you ranges, right? Of like what really is possible in your league, right? Can you only get Bucky and T? Can you only get Judkins in London? Well, we're okay with that. That's why we're writing it down. But how far can you stretch it? That's that's the questions that we're asking here, right? I mean, maybe you can even try something simple where you're doing a pick swap again here, where you get the second and they send a third or something. So, yeah. And then the last one is Achan, which probably going to be tougher after the trade that just happened. Ooh, Achan Rice is hot. I like that. I like it. And we could try like a Laporta and Njoku swap on top. That might get us there. What do you think? Is that not enough? Would you rather do Rice in a first on top?
I think that would be more than enough. I think this is like adding the support Laporta and Njoku swap is a pretty big down tier.
So you think you're
like where I'm saying like in the sense of like that person will never accept that trade.
Okay.
Like, that's like more in the why would I ever do this? Like I think if you take Laporta and Njoku out, that makes more sense. But like if I'm wanting to do the Sam Laporta and Njoku swap, we need to add something on top of that. In my opinion.
Right. Interesting. Achan's like a third round pick in startups, fourth round pick in startups. Gibbs is a guaranteed first round pick.
Yeah, but I guess Laporta fluctuates where Njoku is probably no question probably past the 8th round. Laporta you can probably get in the 4th, sure. You can probably get in the 5th, but this is a 0.5 tight end premium, and Laporta is is the younger tight end, at least in my perspective. You know.
Well, then I'm not pursuing this deal if that's the case, and that's fine.
We can keep it there. I'm not saying like let's keep it there for him for Nav,
because
like
as much as I love Rashee Rice, like if you guys are telling me like the most you can extract from this is Achan and Rice, I'm probably not doing the deal then.
Sure.
It's not
I think you can get something else though. Like I think what's more realistic is Achan Rice and like Olave and H.A. Rice.
Olave is more realistic than a tight end swap?
Yeah, because I think people view Sam Laporta as significantly higher than Olave. And then we add something small to get Olave.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep. That's just an example where I think we're all seeing players differently. But, yeah, I mean, you know, if you can add Olave in a second, I'm really struggling to understand how this is different to the Laporta and Njoku trade.
I just think that it's a massive down tier at tight end. That's where
And no one would send a second for a lot. Like, no one's going to sell Olave for a second.
I think a lot of people don't believe in Chris Olave. So like they wouldn't potentially accept that trade, but they also wouldn't pay a first for Olave. So it would probably have to be a second and a third or 2 seconds.
No one's selling Olave for a second. That's
no one's buying Olave for a first.
People are definitely buying Olave for a late 26 first.
I mean, maybe. And then a lot of the startups that I just did, obviously, like no one was willing. Like Olave was falling to like the 7th. Let me rephrase that. I'm pretty sure it was like the 7th round he was falling to, and nobody wanted him.
That's still about late first range.
Yeah. But once again, I don't believe people are paying for that. I could be wrong, but the majority of the time when I was doing the drafts in the comments, people were like, that's a bit of a reach, and there's no way I'm paying a first for Olave. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I could.
Okay,
again,
well, I don't want to waste time on the stream. I don't think there's any difference in these two trades, but that's fine. It's just a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
And then the other idea is if we tear down from Mahomes. And I think that list is actually quite large of the quarterbacks I'd tear down to. But, yeah, I mean, with his team, let's see. Yeah, like Brock Purdy comes to mind for sure.
I guess how
Kyler
far
Murray.
you're willing to go. Yeah, like,
I don't want to go too far.
I was thinking
he doesn't have a
Kyler Murray
reliable
like
quarterback too.
Are you thinking Kyler Murray like Michael Penix range or like JJ McCarthy range, or were you still trying to stay within the Patrick Mahomes tier like a Caleb or a Herbert or something like that?
No, I don't think you're gonna have any impact if you make a move like that. So
okay, that's fine.
I would say like Purdy, Murray, Mayfield, Goff, guys that you know are going to be reliable starters because you don't have a proven starter at quarterback 2 yet. So let's look at some of those options then.
All right, let's look at Purdy. He has a lot of. Purdy is definitely doable, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too.
I guess
it might even be preferable over moving a Gibbs. Like if you can do like a Purdy and Brees,
that might feel better, and you can keep Gibbs.
Now, again, this all comes down to perception. We have a different perception of the last trade we formed, and I have a different perception of Mahomes compared to most of the community. I don't think Mahomes should be a first-round startup pick like everyone has him. So it depends on how your league views these guys, right? But I would easily take the Purdy Brees Hall side of this, and I don't even feel that confident in Brees Hall. Would love to make it like Tet, Purdy and Tet, and then you can maybe move a different wide receiver to figure out your running back room. But the thing is, you'd probably have to send at that point like a second at least to make something like that happen. But that's not a bad start.
Yeah,
maybe Kyler we look at next.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson is expected to sign with the New York Knicks.
I don't know who Jordan Clarkson is, so please explain him to me.
Terrible defender, but really good like second team bench can kind of run your offense through type of guy. But
hell yeah.
If you leave him out there on defense, he's going to get exposed in the playoffs. But he can kind of, like when Brunson's off the floor, he can kind of run your offense. And he's a good scorer, so definitely will help your team. Kyler, owner, I don't think anything here makes sense. He also has Goff, unfortunately, so those both kind of go out the window. So we're going to have to look at Baker Mayfield.
You said who? Baker? Next?
Yeah, Baker is the last one here. And then if Nav is in the chat, let us know if you have any other questions, Nav, as we're going through this. So yeah, like Baker, like a Baker Judkins I like.
Judkins, yeah. This guy also has... This is the Drake London guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we can probably do a big package deal if we really wanted to.
The thing is,
go that route.
I don't think Mahomes and London are that far off in value. So I don't think you're going to get a big
like
enough...
in a startup perspective, like we're seeing both of those guys. At least in the recent startups that we did, at least I did
Yeah.
In the Burrows leagues, it was like London, and then Mahomes used to go within a couple picks from him.
That's what I think our community thinks about them, and I don't think that's wrong. I really think it's only Mayfield and Judkins as your options there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of options for a team like this. I feel like that's a really good review, if I could say so myself, and I would love to know if Nav's here, if he has any other questions, if he's here or not.
I would definitely agree with Zach when it comes down to, like, if you can get Patrick Mahomes for Brock Purdy and Breece Hall, is that you really don't have to do anything after that. Like, you can still keep Jahmyr Gibbs. You just got a running back there. So if you can pull this off, I actually just run into the sunset with that.
I don't know about you, but I don't think this team needs to make 2 moves. I just think they need to make 1 move. Whether that's the Gibbs tear downs that we've talked about. Well, look, if you do the move where you go Hampton or Henderson for the 2 first, you need to move one of those first to make way for more startable assets. But all these other deals, like if you get one of the Gibbs deals done, you don't have to. Actually, I would move Mahomes no matter what, but you don't have to, is what we're trying to say. Like, you don't have to do. One of them can get the job done of what we're trying to accomplish. Day's here, and he says, only question I have is your thoughts on A.J. Brown. Is he a sell or a hold?
I think it just depends on... Sorry.
He's one of these players that, like... A.J. is entering the category of can't really do anything to ever improve his value. He really is. Like, whether you think that's right or wrong, A.J. Brown will be 28 this next offseason. Well, he's already 28, my bad. Okay, so he's 28 today. Is it his birthday today over there? Yeah, it's his birthday in America. So he's 28 today. Even if A.J. Brown goes out there and has, like, 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns, next offseason, he will be everyone's sell high. And no one's going to rank him over these young, unproven guys who go top 10 in the NFL draft. Like the Tet McMillans, for example, right? So
it was kind of like Cooper. Think of Cooper Kupp a couple years ago, where like he finished wide receiver 1, and then like
or even Tyreek Hill 2 years ago. Tyreek Hill almost broke the record for all-time receiving yardage, and then he hit 30, and people were like, "Yeah, I don't want to know." You know. So I think he's a hold, but I would be happy to pivot off of him if you can get like the Travis Hunters, T-Max. I wouldn't with a Dunze with your position. But yeah, like
I'm happy to tear down too. Yeah, I'm happy to tear down and take chances on like the Mikas, like the Brandon Ayuk plus, excuse me. That's probably the only one I would probably do. I think everyone else is just way too far off. Like I don't want like the DKs, the Worthies.
And the only thing is, I think I would prefer to keep them than do like an Ayuk move because you're competing. So
yeah. Exactly. So I'm okay with that, man. But appreciate you, man. Once again, throw any last minute questions you have in the chat. You should be receiving your customized playbook with everything that we drew up here for you today within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message System. But appreciate you, man.
Yeah, we do appreciate you big time, and thanks for submitting a team with us. All right, Chasing Breakers, I believe, is the last live team playbook we're going to look at today. Now, this is your last chance to get on top of this BOGO offer that we're currently doing on today's stream. If you don't know, on today's stream only, I mean, maybe it comes back at some point, maybe this week, maybe in a month, maybe next year, I don't know. But we're doing a BOGO offer on our live team playbooks. If you purchase a live team playbook today through the Flock site, then you get an offline team playbook for free. In fact, I need to go back and give Nav his free team playbook. Let me do that right now. Hold on. I want to make sure we give that to him before we forget. So, Nav, you'll have a... Let's do that now for you. Bang. Team review. Okay, you should have a free team playbook, offline team playbook in your vouchers now, Nav. I appreciate you, man. Let us know if that doesn't show up in the next couple minutes. Chasing Breakers is next. But again, last chance to get your BOGO offer, live team playbook. Submit a live team playbook today. Has to be one that you purchased today, right? Can't be like a member from like a month ago and then submit your team playbook today. But purchase a live team playbook, get your BOGO offer, offline one for free afterwards. All right, shall we go on to the next one? Last one, Chasing Breakers.
Appreciate you chasing breakers, man. You know the deal. Thank you so much for the support. Please jump in at any point in time. This is a 2 quarterback 12 team start 10, which is our classic middle ground. Once again, let us know at any point in time if anything is wrong or needs to be updated here. He says, fresh out of a startup draft, traded my 26th first to move up to get May when he slipped a bit. Missed out on a huge wide receiver one late in the draft, so a bit weak there, but hoping to contend. Very trade happy league so far. A lot of interest in Kittle, 0.75 tight end premium. Okay, and you are currently ranked Settlers of Catan. Currently ranked 9th out of 12 according to Zach's rankings here.
Yep.
But let's have a look at this team. Okay. At the quarterback position, you have Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jackson Dart. Good quarterback room, nice and young. You traded it. You're first to move up. At the running back position, Kyron, RJ, CMC, Garendo. Love that you locked up that backfield, the 49ers for me personally. So I don't mind this running back room either. At the wide receiver position, you can start 5 wide receivers. Here's your starting 5. Malik, Travis, Reed, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman. And then obviously George Kittle. So like you said, you did miss on a big run there. So I'm assuming Malik, you traded up to get May, Caleb, then Travis was maybe your 4th pick.
Yeah, look, outside of like a couple veterans like Kupp, Kyron, CMC, Kittle, it's really a team that like was built for the future, and that's always hard coming out of a startup because it's going to be tough to trade coming out of a startup. There's not like people haven't really ripped the band-aid off as much as a normal league that's like a year in, and people are kind of settled into the path they took. Like rebuilders aren't going to change their mind from the startup. They're still rebuilding. Nothing has happened in the league to change their mind, but there's definitely still some moves that we can potentially make here. But obviously, looking at your starting 10, it would be like May, Caleb, Kyron, RJ, Harvey, McCaffrey, Neighbors, Hunter, Reed, Kupp, Kittle, which is actually a pretty good starting 10. But that assumes that May and Caleb break out, right? That assumes that RJ Harvey is startable. That assumes that Travis Hunter is actually playing receiver, which a lot of us believe, but we'll have to wait and see what the usage looks like. That assumes that you can start Reed, Kupp, or Pittman are flexible, right? So there's a lot of assumptions being made, as is common coming off a startup, but I think it's a decent team. It feels very much like B flat to me. Like just kind of across the board B flat, which isn't uncommon coming out of a startup either.
Yeah, I would agree there. Draft capital, I would probably say like a B minus, C plus. You don't have your first, but you still have your other picks, so that's totally okay. Some untouchables. I think the only untouchable you have here for me is Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Holds. There's a bunch of holds here you can do, but these are the ones that I would say: Drake May, Terrence Ferguson, Isaac Correndo, and then Roman Wilson, one in each position. But obviously, you can hold the Travis Hunters, the RJ Harveys, the Caleb Williams of the world there as well. And then some easy drops is Ricky White, Ty Johnson, or you can just drop the Hendersons and Malik Willises of the world as well if you just wanted to get them off your team to make some room there. When it comes down to the pathway forward, for me, maybe Zach's on the same page. I think this is like
Well, you've got to compete now.
Actually, it's when actually you have to compete now. It's Windows Open. I was gonna say like a super soft contender.
Like if this team had its first, I might consider selling CMC in season. I might consider selling Kittle in season. And
he said he could,
looking towards the future, but
yeah, he said he could potentially get his first draft. A lot of draft capital, skewing value though. Very active trade league, I would say. It's definitely an upside team. Lamar owner looking to down tier. Tucker Craft owner looking to up tier at tight end. He owns my first.
What if we just did a tear down like the George Kittle, Tucker Craft first type of tear down, and then we kind of give ourselves flexibility for
That's
whatever
actually
happens?
Huge.
you know?
Sorry, that's really big. You telling me that you can get your first back, and all you have to do is get Tucker Kraft and
Well,
send
he
George.
didn't say that. I'm more suggesting it.
No, but this is what he says. Tucker Kraft owner looking to up tier a tight end. He owns his first. So if he, that's what you're saying is he can do George Kittle, get Tucker Kraft and his first back.
Well, that's
I
just a
think that's
suggestion for me. He hasn't said that, but I'm saying like
no,
if you can work a deal up where you get your 26 first, so you send George Kittle, you get back your 26 first plus Tucker Kraft. I don't think that deal gets accepted. I think you're gonna have to add on to this, right? But look, if he's fine to do a deal like that, it is a 0.75 tight end premium, so maybe that's all it takes. But you might have to add something a little more intriguing here. Like, can you add Cooper Kupp into that deal if you do something like that? You know, George Kittle and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Or Michael Pittman. I kind of prefer to keep Pittman though. Yeah. But I don't hate that idea because what that would give you is just the flexibility of seeing what happens.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you don't have Kittle, but between Kraft, Ferguson, likely, you have enough there to field a tight end. And then if May and Williams aren't breaking out this year, and if RJ Harvey needs some time, and if Travis Hunter needs some time, then you have the flexibility of saying, okay, I can recognize that I'm 2-4 through 6 weeks, 2-5 through 7 weeks. Maybe I should look for a CMC owner that I could trade him to. Maybe I should look at trading Kyron Williams. You know, you can then objectively look at your team instead of saying, well, I don't have my first. I have to be in. You know what I mean? He says, I was originally thinking Kyron and Kittle for Kraft and Bucky, but I like the flexibility of getting my pick back. Yeah, I would prefer to get your pick back.
I would prefer that as well. Like,
I do love Bucky, but yeah, I want your pick back.
Having the flexibility gives you way more leverage and for later, and you have the depth at running back that you, if everything does go well, then you technically your weakest spot would just be at the tight end position, knowing that your wide receivers are going to improve at least in 26 and 27.
Yeah, I guess the question for Chasing Breakers is, I don't see your first on this team. That might just be an error on our end, but this guy definitely has your first. That's right, the guy who owns Tucker Kraft.
Unless he traded it away already.
Yeah, imagine, right? But yeah, I mean, I like that idea a lot. If you can get your own first back. I mean, how far would you kind of extend this? If it's not Cooper Kupp, I mean, would you do... I wouldn't do Dart. I wouldn't do, like, CMC or Kyron. What would you do? Reed? Would you do Jaden Reed to get your first back? I mean, maybe you can you can throw Jaden Reed in there, but if you do that, can you ask back for, I don't know, like a second or something?
Yeah, I guess maybe Cooper Kupp is the ideal move.
Yeah, and I would
Cooper
rather
Kupp in
keep
a
Reed
exactly.
and move
I would
Pittman if we need. But I think Pittman's a really good buy low stash right now. Buy low hold, rather, I should say. But yeah, I think that is the best move you could probably make just for flexibility. Because we don't know exactly how these young players are going to respond, even though we think they will respond the right way. Now, if you can't get that done, I don't see why we keep our second.
That's what I'm saying.
If you can't get that done, then it turns to, okay, so why don't I label this like first is back? I don't know. But if you can't get it, then we go all in. And then we're going to send that second away to try and improve at wide receiver. So like the Devontae Adams of the world. You know, we've talked about this a lot, but Devontae Adams, the Chris Godwins, the Khalil Shakirs. It's a lot of names. I'm just blanking right now. Jerry Jeudy.
Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, Shakira, You can do names like Jerry Jeudy. I doubt you can do George Pickens, Tyreek Hills, Mike
Hill.
Evans. Did we say? I personally like names, maybe not for seconds, but for thirds. The Suttons, the Diggs, the Debos of
Yeah,
the world as well.
maybe if you can send a third and a fourth for the following names, like the Diggs. Honestly, right now you might be able to get Debo for a third. The way people are talking about him, I still like Debo Samuel this year. I think people are really not talking about the offense he's a part of enough. Like, the Washington offense is literally perfect for Debo Samuel, and all anybody can talk about is a video where he looks fat. He's looked like that his entire career, by the way. Debo has never looked skinny. If you even look back to South Carolina. But anyway, I'm not going to get into it.
I just think it's the colors, maybe. Like,
it's the same colors, though, really.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, they're all reddish teams from Washington to the Niners to South Carolina. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think he's in the perfect offense for his skill set. But those are really the ideas that I have right now, and I would love to hear any questions from Chase and Breakers, anything we didn't cover in depth enough. But I don't think you should look at like you being ninth as a big issue, because you're coming off a startup. 12th place versus first place is really not that far off after a startup. So,
yeah, let us know if you have any last minute questions, man. We appreciate you. I'll give you the spiel as you're throwing or thinking about any last minute questions. You should be receiving your playbook in the Flock Fantasy message system, customized with everything that you've gotten here today within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system. But appreciate you, man. He says, sorry I messed up the guy. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry I messed up the guy who wants Kittle, but is sorry Sandlot, who has my first, also wants Kittle.
Sorry Sandlot. That was my question. Okay, so he has your first, and he has Evan Ingram, so I think it's still possible.
I think so as well.
I mean the same exact deals, but just remove Kraft and make it Evan Ingram. Right? So we don't really need to explore the Kraft deal anymore, because really the only reason we're doing this deal is to get your first back. So it's as simple as just replacing Kraft with Evan Ingram, and those guys are pretty much in the same tier anyway. In Dynasty,
people probably want Kraft because he's younger. So
yeah, exactly.
You actually might
you probably
be
have
able
more
to
leverage.
Get away.
Yeah,
you might be able to get away just doing the straight swap, or the Ingram in the first just for Kittle, and probably not all those other ones that we have drawn up here for you. But
yeah,
those are the options.
But the thing is, like,
appreciate you, man.
This guy has more options for namesake, but it's not like you have to get your first and ideally a tight end. So that's why there's not really much flexibility. These trades are already kind of designed. So
yeah.
Anyway, maybe that makes it easier on you, but I would still take like a first and Evan Ingram. For a deal
I would
like
as well.
Yeah, like I think it actually. I was a little bit worried that some of the Kraft deals might not be realistic enough, but that feels more realistic now. But anyway, appreciate you big time, my friend.
And, huge.
I think that
love.
should be it for today. I will say, guys, definitely would love to have you join us tomorrow on the Redraft channel. We'll be doing our very first live stream over there. I'll spam that in the chat, but we'll be basically talking fantasy football, looking at the 2025 season specifically, redraft leagues, drafting, talking about expectations for players this year. I would love to have you guys come join us, our first one of the season. So definitely come join us over there. Also, we did just release a video on that channel today. It's my dark horse #1 overall candidates for the 2025 season. One of them is screwed already because of a trade that happened today, but still a video worth watching. And I think that's it. Am I missing anything before we end the stream?
No, that is it, man. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
see you tomorrow.
Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow on the Redraft channel. Come join us over there. And yeah, love. See you guys.